human resource management issue. In his free time, Mr. Lewis believed in giving back to the society and the legal community. He was also formerly a member of the Kuala Lumpur Bar Committee (KLBC) for the term 2019/2020 and the former chairperson of KLBC's Publication Committee. How are you today, Mr. Lewis?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Glad to hear so, Mr. Lewis. So for today's session, Mr. Lewis will enlighten us about the topic on job specialization, whether it is better to have specialization in the law industry or general practicing is enough as it is more marketable since it's covered a wider area. So without further ado, let's get to you.
Okay, thank you, MC, for introducing me. Thank you for ALSA for having me as a speaker for today's session. I hope all of you have had a very productive morning attending this training. You are very fortunate because I see that the program is very well planned and there are many very esteemed speakers invited to this training. So I'm sure you all would have learned a lot by now. What I will be sharing is my opinion on the job having a general practice or having a specialized practice. Again, because it's only my opinion, another lawyer, another practitioner with a different experience may have a different view on the subject matter. But I will try my best to give you my own personal experience and my opinion based on my own personal experience. Okay, without further ado, let us begin. Let me share my screen. I didn't prepare very serious and very thorough, comprehensive slides. I'm not sure what the other speakers do. So if it's not as good as other speakers, I apologize for that. But I think what is more important is that you actually pay attention to what I have to say, because I think what I will be sharing, although it's very conversational, although it's quite informal, everything I say will have a certain meaning to it. And if you can take down notes, I think it's best that you take down notes, okay? I'm not sure if the session is recorded and will be shared with you all, but otherwise, I hope that you all take down notes, because everything I say will have quite an important meaning and it will be applicable to you once you graduate from law school, okay? Without further ado, let us start. This is just a bit of background. My name is Liaw, as introduced by the MC. I'm currently at RDS and I focus on employment industrial relations law. I will tell you a little bit about my background on how what I practice as before I joined this firm and become an employment lawyer. But because I am an employment lawyer, my current practice areas include employment and industrial relations related dispute resolution. Dispute resolution meaning we include mediation, conciliation, try to get a settlement, but also litigation, meaning we actually go to court and fight the case out. I also provide corporate advisory services, so I always speak to human resource managers on their employment-related legal matters. I give them advice on how to, for example, restructure the company, how to optimize their workforce, how to dismiss an employee without getting into trouble, and so on. And lastly, from time to time, I also do some general civil and commercial litigation, which is beyond just employment law. But most of my time, I will be doing employment-related matters. So to give you a bit of context on what I will be speaking on later, I must share a little bit about my own background, and maybe from my own experience, from me explaining my own background, you would have a better idea on why I come to my conclusion on this subject matter. Okay, so I started as a pupil in this firm called Ram Caroline Shah & Shah, Ram CSS, formerly known as Ram Rais and Partners. My master and also my direct superior, my boss, was Mr. Sharizan Johan. I'm not sure if you all heard of him, but he is quite a famous, esteemed human rights constitutional lawyer. And in that firm, what we practice is a general litigation. When I say general litigation, meaning we do all kinds of litigation, regardless of which area of law it comes from. It can be commercial contracts, breach of contracts, it could be tort, it could be fraud cases, it could be company law related cases, so on and so forth. But what is also special about my practice back then in Ram CSS was that we were so general that we also do criminal work. So unlike other firms or my colleagues, they say that they are in general litigation, but their general litigation only limits to civil litigation. They do all kinds of civil litigation, but they never do criminal litigation. So whereas me and Mr. Shah, we practice so wide that we did both civil litigation as well as criminal litigation, meaning we also defend accused people for charges such as sexual offences, penal offences, communications and multimedia offences, and I think towards the end of my time there, we were doing a lot of SOSMA related cases, which is security offences, terrorism offences, and so on. So my background is very unique, I would say, compared to my peers, because I have experience and also a foundation in both civil litigation and criminal litigation. And that has given me which I would explain later, what known as hard skill and soft skill. Perhaps at this juncture, I can already give you like one of the important points that you would learn that I want to share with you, and you should take note, is that having a general practice will, in my opinion, makes you a more versatile and a more well-rounded lawyer. Why do I say that? Because if you do civil litigation, right? Civil litigation, it's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of preparing the cost papers, preparing the documents, preparing, after you have the cost papers, you know what you want to sue on, or what you want to what's your defense when you're being sued. Then you need to prepare the documents, which is the evidence that you want to use in court. Then the next thing you need to prepare is the witness statements. Okay, what is the witnesses going to say in court? And finally, you go to court and then you conduct the trial. And at the end of the trial, you prepare a submission, meaning you say that based on what we want to sue in our cost papers, based on the evidence, based on what the my witnesses say in their witness statement, and based on what the opponents say during trial after I question them, then in all together, taken together, and based on what the law says, therefore the court should rule in my favor. So you file the submissions. So that's the basic procedure or the process of a civil litigation case. So as you can see, there's a lot of preparation work, there's a lot of drafting work, there's a lot of timeline to keep. So when you are a civil litigation practitioner, this is what you are trained on. You're trained on how to strategize a case, you're trained on how to draft things properly, you're trained on how to do research on the law, you're trained on how to present your case properly, you're trained on how to keep yourself organized and keep yourself strict to timeline. Okay, so that's the skill set that comes that you will learn by having a civil litigation practice, which is very, very different from having a criminal litigation practice. Okay, so I think I suppose this is also why the organizers wanted me to speak on this topic, because unlike my peers, most of my peers, I have experience in both civil litigation and both criminal litigation, and that's why I can notice, and when I can say with authority that those practice teaches you different skills. So if you're in a criminal litigation practice, things are very different. There's much less paperwork, because most of the time the paperwork or the documents and the evidence would be prepared by the prosecution first, which is the AG Chambers lawyers. Okay, unless you join the AG, which is a different story, which I cannot speak on because I never joined the AG. But as a private practitioner, we only act as the defendant's counsel. We don't act as a prosecutor. So when you act as a defendant's counsel, the prosecutor will take charge or lead the case. Because in criminal law, basically, the prosecution has to prove their case first, the prima facie case first. Then after that, if there is a prima facie case, then only the defendants are supposed to court to defend himself. So we take actually a back seat. The prosecution will prepare the charge, will prepare the witnesses, will prepare the evidence, will prepare the court papers and the documents, and then they will try to prove their case first, whereas we take a back seat and just try to poke holes in their case. So you realize that there's actually much less paperwork to prepare, and maybe that's why people prefer criminal practice as well, because you have less paperwork, less strict timeline, less applications, less things to draft. But what you need in a criminal practice, it's entirely different, is that because you take a back seat and you prepare less cost papers, there is much more uncertainty and spontaneity in the practice. What I mean is that sometimes, for example, the cases that we did, we don't know who will be the witness for that day. We don't know what is their evidence. We don't know what they, of course, we'll get some documents, but the documents are quite limited. And we don't know what the witnesses will say, because most of the time we don't get the witness statements, unlike in civil cases. So what you need to do as a good criminal lawyer, you need to know how to react very fast. If suddenly they want to tender a confession, you know that once the confession is admitted and the judge sees it, surely you will lose the case, because they say that it's a admission by your client. So you need to react very quickly and quickly stand up and object to that document, which will not happen in a civil litigation practice, because you would have known that they will be tendering a document like weeks ago. Secondly, once the witnesses start speaking, you must quickly take note of what his evidence is. And then once he finished giving evidence, you must be ready on how to ask questions or cross-examine this witness. So you must be thinking about what he's saying, understanding what he's saying, and then quickly think of what questions you want to ask this person that will help your client's case. So it requires very fast thinking on the feet, very familiar with the law in your head, which is quite different with civil practice. So that was what I get to learn, the hard skill and the soft skill that I get to learn when I was in RAM CSS. I get to learn both the skills required for a civil practitioner and both the skills required of a criminal practitioner, which makes me a lawyer that is capable of doing drafting, adhering to timeline, preparing documents. At the same time, I'm also capable of listening and doing trials very well, because I wouldn't say very well, but I can do trials decently because I have that criminal background. So that I would say is, by explaining my background, that I would say is your first point, which is general practice, especially if you are involved in both civil and criminal work, you get to learn the skill sets of both areas of practice, which compared if you specialize very early on, you may lose out one or the other. Okay, so that's the first point already. Now, another reason why I decided to join RAM CSS is because of Mr. Sharizan. I admired him as a lawyer since I was in law school. So I knew that after law school, I wanted to join his firm. I wanted to work with him, and that's why I applied to his firm. And the reason for that is this. This is your important second point. Okay, before you think about generalization or specialization, I think what is also very important is you need to choose your mentor. Who you want to be your mentor, who you want to be your master. Because I can tell you that the law is written in the books. The procedures, the substantive law is all in the books. So you just have to open the book, read it, you know, okay, you need to file a memorandum of appearance in 14 days. Or you need to open the rules, you know, you need to file the defense 14 days from the appearance, things like that. You can read it. But how to deal with a judge, how to deal with a client, how to conduct yourself, how to ask questions to witnesses. Those are skills that you will not be able to learn from the books, or at least not so easy from the books. And who you will learn all this from is your master or your boss or your mentor. Okay, so these things, the best way, or perhaps even the only way for you to learn, is to follow your master and watch how he does it, ask questions, and hope that he teaches you how to do it. So for me, that time when I joined RAM CSS, number one, I wanted the general practice background, but I also wanted Mr. Shah to be my mentor. So that's the reason why I choose that firm. Now, these will relate to if you already have an idea of, okay, I want to be like Dato Ambiga, I want to be like Dr. Cyrus Das, or I want to be like Saravana, which is the partner in my firm, which specializes in tax law. Then perhaps that is how you decide whether you want to have a general practice or you want to have a specialized practice. Because instead of choosing specialized or general, you choose who you want to become like in the future. And I think that's one of the best ways to grow as a lawyer. You choose your mentor, and then you follow him, and then you do what he does, and then you can be like him one day. Okay, so that's the second point for you to consider: who is going to be your mentor. And thirdly, one of the good things about RAM CSS is that they had a rotation basis when I was a pupil, meaning every pupil is supposed to spend, although there's a bit of a room for discussion, but the general rule is that as a pupil, you need to spend 3 months in the conveyancing department, 3 months in the IP department, and 3 months in the general litigation department. So because of that, I got an opportunity to work in the conveyancing department to realize what conveyancing is all about, the skills needed of being a conveyancing lawyer. I also spent time in the IP department, which I did about how to register trademarks, how to oppose to registration of trademarks, how to fight an IP litigation case. And lastly, I spent my time with Mr. Shah in the General Litigation department. So because of that rotation basis, which I was able to try different areas of law, see which one I like the most, and try which one I am good at. Okay, so that is your third point. Maybe choosing a firm, you need to consider choosing a firm that has a rotation basis so that you can actually experience different areas of practice, experience different areas of law, and in that way you will realize perhaps which one you are good at, which one you enjoy, and if you want to think about, you can also think which one makes the most money. Then you will help you to decide whether to specialize in the future. Okay, so that's my own experience in RAM CSS. That's the thing that gave me my views on this subject today. Okay, so that's RAM CSS. Now, since 2020, July this year, I left RAM CSS and joined RDS, Rosli Dalan Saravanan Partnership. There's another whole new story on or opinion on why I decided to choose to leave the firm that I just said I like so much and I enjoy so much. There's a reason to that. But that will be for another day. I'm more than happy if ALSA wants me to come and say when should a lawyer decide a career move. Okay, but we leave it to another day. Now, once I joined RDS, I am invited and to specialize in employment law. Okay, actually back in RAM CSS, I've done quite a few employment matters, and I always enjoyed employment matters, and I felt that I'm pretty good at employment matters, but I never specialized in it. And I've never had an idea to specialize in any specific area of law. But once I joined RDS, although currently we still consider a small to medium-sized firm, we have a big firm mindset because the partners used to be partners from Lee Hishamuddin. So that was a big firm. So when these partners came up from Lee H and set up RDS, they wanted the same big firm kind of structure. So each partner will have a specialized area of practice. So all of us that got joined the firm as a senior associate, currently there are five of us. All five of us have our own specialized practice. And I was assigned and invited to do employment law, which I am happily accepted. And by joining RDS so far, I've already seen how powerful it is to specialize in the area of law, in my case, employment law, and how powerful it is to have a group of lawyers who are specialized in their own area of law working together in the same firm. Back in RAM CSS, me and Shah were both general litigation lawyers, so we do same areas of law. What cases he does, I assist him. Whereas currently I'm in RDS, we have 5 senior associates who are specialized in 5 different areas of law. And then, as I will explain later, how this team of 5 specialists will actually help each other grow and give added value to themselves and to the firm. Okay, and that is my journey so far. I hope I've been clear. So if there's anything that you are not clear with, I'm sure you can drop a chat or questions later, and then the moderator will notify me. But otherwise, that is my personal journey, and I think I've already, in that process, gave you 3 or 4 quite important pointers. But now let's just go quite direct into my views on the pros and cons of whether to have a general practice or a specialized practice. General practice, number 1, what you get to do is a foundation. I always felt that as a young lawyer, as a newcomer to the legal industry, foundation is the most important. Foundation meaning, do you know your rules of court? Do you know your criminal procedure code? You know what are the important procedural rules? Do you know how to draft properly? Do you know how to conduct a case management properly? Do you know how to interview your clients properly? Do you know how to submit to court, address the court properly? These are foundational skills. These are not specialized knowledge or advanced skills. These are just foundational skills. And I feel that having a general practice, you are able to build your foundation better. Okay, and I think I've already explained earlier, one of the reason I enjoyed my time in RAM CSS is that we were so general. We did both civil and criminal, and therefore my foundation, I would say, is good because I am able to my time there has allowed me to have experience or exposure to different areas of practice and build my foundational skills. Okay, so I think general practice will allow you to do that. Whereas a specialized practice, you may not be able to do that. For example, I know a lot of peers or my colleagues who graduated about the same time as me. They joined a big firm, let's say Screen or Shern or Liaw. Once they graduated as a pupil, they immediately get assigned to a department. Okay, whether it's a banking litigation department, IP department, employment law department, and so on and so forth. So they will not have that as wide a foundational skills as I do, because since the first day they only do banking litigation, since the first day they only do employment law, since the first day they only do IP law. You ask them anything outside of IP law, employment law, banking law, they wouldn't know anything about it. But what they are able to do is that, imagine your first 3 years of practice, every day you just do banking law, every day you just do IP law, every day you just do employment law. 3 years later, I can guarantee you, you are already a very good, or at least a very can run your own files kind of full-fledged employment lawyer, IP lawyer, or banking lawyer. You get to mastery very fast. Because 3 years, imagine 3 years, you just keep on doing the same thing. Okay, by the time 3 years later, you'll be like, oh, whatever case that comes to you, know, I've done it before. I have a precedent for it before. I have gone to court for it before. Okay. Whereas you won't do that, you are not able to be that if you're a general practitioner. 3 years later, unless you're a super genius that whatever you do that you are able to immediately become so good at it. But otherwise, normal people like us, 3 years later, you'll be like, okay, I know a little bit of criminal law, I know a little bit of banking law, I know a little bit of IP law, but I cannot say that I'm very good at any area of law. So a case comes to me, I will need to, I've basic about it, but I need to do more research before I can advise you. Whereas the same case, if it goes to a specialized lawyer on that subject matter, maybe the lawyer will be, I know, I can immediately advise you because I've done this before. So that's the difference between a general practice and a specialized practice. So with this concept, right, okay, let me save that to the conclusion part later. So what's the second point I would like to share? General practice allows you exposure and exploration. Now that is a very personal thing. That is not so much as the first point, which is about being a good lawyer. The second point is about it's about self-discovery. You need to find out what you actually enjoy in the first place. Because if you don't enjoy something, then what's why should you specialize in it and do the same area of law for the rest of your life? You may not enjoy it for the rest of your life, and then you end up disliking legal practice. So general practice will allow you to try different things, see different things, explore different things, and then from the process you realize perhaps what in the Japanese they call it the ikigai, which is what you're good at, what you are passionate about, and what makes money lah. So if you can find the perfect one thing, the area that you're good at, you're interested, and also makes money, then you should consider yourself as having found your calling in life or passion in life, and you are more likely to succeed lah, because you found it and you enjoy doing it. So general practice, for the first few years of practice, you will be able to get the exposure, get to explore, and then find your true love. Okay. And also, if you don't find your true love, at least you might realize what you truly don't want to do. For example, I realized I truly don't want to do family law because I don't like how emotional or personal it can be conducting a family related case. Couples will always fight, children will be involved, etc. I realized that is not what I like doing, and therefore I will not do family law. So that's I get to learn that because I was in a general litigation firm. Okay. Now moving to specialized practice, right? Yes, you don't get that exploration, you don't get that exposure of trying different things, but what you are able to get is a very economical, very practical benefit, which is you are very easy to market yourself. You are very easy to be remembered. So, for example, when I go for a social event or I go for a conference, a business networking event, people ask me, what do I practice? I said, oh, I'm a general practitioner. What also I do a little bit. Then people will not even remember me after the meeting. They will be like, oh, okay, he does all kinds of things. When they have a family law matter, they wouldn't think of me. When they have a employment law matter, they wouldn't think of me. They would think of the first employment lawyer that comes into their mind. When they have a IP matter, they wouldn't think of me. They would think of the first IP lawyer that comes to their mind. So I don't have that ability to market myself easily, or the ability to let people remember me easily. Whereas if I am a tax lawyer, I'm an IP lawyer, I am an employment lawyer, I just need to talk to people. I just say that, yeah, I do employment matter only and I don't do anything else. So I have less things to say. I have less people that will be interested in me, but those who are interested in me will first, they will think of me once employment issue comes to my mind, once a IP issue comes to my mind. So I think the MC just now earlier did say that, oh, because you're a general practitioner, you're more marketable because you have more coverage. Actually, that's not true. I would respectfully disagree with that, because I think it's actually harder for you to market yourself because you are less easy to remember, because you don't have any unique selling point of yourself. No doubt you can do more kinds of cases, but you will not be able to impress people so easily. Okay, I got a note that I need to wrap up. No problem. It's almost coming to an end also. And it's also not so easy for you to cross-sell with your colleagues. Like I say, because in RDS we have 5 SAs that specialize in different areas, we can cross-sell for each other. For example, a client that comes to my friend, my colleague for an IP matter, they will say that, okay, I got this, I need help on IP matter, he will do it. But one day this client will also have some employment issue, because let's say a company, surely they will hire people and surely there will be some employment issue. They will go to my colleague and say that, hey, you know anybody that does employment work, can help us? Then my colleague will sell it for me and say that, oh, why don't you use Louis? Louis is an employment lawyer. Then I will get clients from my IP lawyer colleague. The same thing happens to me. My employment clients maybe would need some IP advice. Then I will be able to sell it to my IP colleague. So we get to cross-sell and help each other grow our business, grow our career. Whereas if you are all general litigation lawyer, you're basically fighting with each other. Hey, I also can do IP work. Why should I give my friend? Or that your friend will think that I also can do criminal work. Why should I give Louis? So at the end, you're competing with each other. You don't have that mutual assistance, mutual selling ability. So that is the benefit of having a specialized practice. Lastly, general practice, you have versatility, because you are able to do different kinds of cases. So if you want to set up your own firm, you can cari makan easily, because whatever files that come to you, you already have some foundation. You may not be a specialist, you not be an expert, but at least you have some foundation. So you're able to take any case and run. Okay. Whereas, but at the same time, you must think about, let's say if you are 4 years in general litigation and you want to leave the current firm and join another firm. Another firm would think like, why should I hire a 4th-year lawyer? He's a good lawyer, but a 4th-year lawyer is quite expensive. And he's not exactly good at any one thing. Why should I hire an expensive 4-year lawyer who is good, but not especially good at anything that can add value to me? Why don't I just train my own first year, or train my own pupil, which is cheaper, and she already knows my style. And if I need a general litigation lawyer, I don't need a specialist anyway, so I can train her myself. So you become actually quite not so employable, because even though you're a good lawyer, you think you know most of the things, but because you're not specialized in something, you don't have a unique selling point, you may end up too expensive to be hired. Whereas specialized, you say, oh, I just do tax. So any firm that, I want a new tax department, I cannot afford this partner, but at least I can get this 4th-year lawyer who already have 4 years experience in tax, ask him to join me as a partner. So you're actually quite employable in that sense. Okay, and that is the pros and cons, my views of the specialized or general practice. Allow me to just wrap up quickly. So what are my advice? Actually, there's only 4 points. This is a 5th point, but yeah, anyway, let me just say 4 lessons. If you already know what you want, go for it. If you already know you want to just do employment law, you want to know that you already want to do tax law, go for it. But if you don't know, I would suggest you try to explore first. You are trying to find out what kinds of things you do and maybe build your foundation. And 3 years later, decide, okay, I really like tax law, I really like IP law, I will specialize in it now. And that is my advice, and that is the same move that I did for myself. First few years, I'm not sure what I wanted, so I just have a general practice, learn my foundation, be exposed to different things. And then once I decided, okay, I can do employment law, I want to be a specialist now, it's time for me, I changed my career, changed my job, and then now I'm specialized in employment law. You must remember that you're always responsible for the circumstances you find yourself in. Don't blame people because at the end, you yourself that decide which firm you want to join and which area of practice you want to do. But while you think about specialize or not, think about other factors as well. You want to work with bosses that is willing to give you opportunities, bosses that are willing to teach you. You want to work in a healthy work environment, not a toxic work environment. You want to focus on whether you get to learn a lot. Some maybe this area of practice is not my favorite, but at least this lawyer is very willing to teach. You may want to take that job opportunity. And lastly, you may also want to think about salary, because the reality is having more money can help your life quite a bit. So maybe that I wouldn't shy away by saying that it is an important factor. Thirdly, what at the end of the day, what you think before you do, like, okay, what I need to do all this research, which firm should I join, which firm, which area of practice, what you think before you do is nowhere as important as what you do when you are doing it. So what I meant by that is that you can think so much, choose the best firm, do all the pros and cons. But if you go into the job, you just do it half-heartedly, you don't put in your best, you don't work hard, you will still end up not being a successful lawyer. Whereas some people that, okay, I don't get to choose, I just get thrown into this firm, this is the only firm that has opening vacancy for me, I just join. But when I am inside the job, I work so hard, I learn whatever I can, I always fight for opportunities. You will end up way better a lawyer than those who think so much but then never really do well, okay? So what you think before doing is not as important as what you do when you are doing it, okay? And finally, before you talk about, oh, this is my passion, this is my specialized area, read the book called Be So Good They Can't Ignore You, which says that sometimes instead of thinking so much about what is your passion, what you want to do, it's more important that you actually be good at what you do. So yes, I may not like civil litigation, but I am so good, I learn my skills so well that nobody can now choose my life for me. I'm like so good, I'm so indisposable, I can start choosing my, okay, I'm so good in civil litigation now, I just want to do cases related to company law. I don't do anything else. And nobody can say no to you because you're so good. So you can start to choose your life. And at the end, you end up being happy. Okay? And that's my 4 lessons for you. Sorry for the typo, but this is my 4 main lessons and advice for you. And I hope that is my presentation. And I hope that my presentation has given you some insight or some thinking points to ponder on whether generalization or specialization is better for you. Okay? Thank you very much. I think we can do the Q&A now.
Thank you, Mr. Luis. It is very good discussion. And now, without wasting any time, if anyone has any question, I'm sure Mr. Luis would be pleased to answer them. So type your question in your chat box and we could take 1 or 2 questions before we end this session. Okay, so from participant named Adnan, he said that aside from admiring Mr. Shahrizan and having a passion for his work, what other characteristics do you look for in your mentor before choosing to work with him?
Okay, good question. I think that's something that you all definitely need to think about, which is number 1, you must realize you must find someone which you think his goals and ambition are aligned with yours. Okay, if he is someone that wants to become a good employment lawyer and you yourself want to become a good employment lawyer, I think that's the best kind of mentors that you can find. Number 1, because if someone's ambition is no lah, I just want to chin chai do and then I just want to retire soon, then this is not the kind of mentor that you want. Okay, because it won't be the same as your, unless your ambition is also the same lah. You just want to do the minimum and then live a very very comfortable life. Then maybe that's the kind of mentor you want. So choose someone, ambitions and goals are aligned with you. Number two is that you need to choose someone who is willing to teach. Okay, there are many good lawyers, but these good lawyers doesn't make them good bosses. There are many good bosses, but these good bosses may not be good lawyers. Okay, and there may be many good lawyers and good bosses, but these good lawyers and good bosses may not be good teachers. Okay, if you are so, of course, in the ideal life, you would like to find a good lawyer that is a good boss, that is also a good teacher lah. But of course, I understand this is not so easy to find. And what you can do to try to find it is when you are in law school, like all of you now, go and do internships. Go and try to join different internships, see different law firms, meet different lawyers. Then maybe you would find your Mr. Sharizan, just like how I find my mentor. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Louis. Is there any more question from the floor? I think that's all from the participant today. So thank you, Mr. Louis. Great question and answer from both the panelists and the participants. And unfortunately, those are the only time we have today. And before we end our session, I would like everyone in this room to turn on their camera so that we can take group pictures together. So please do on your camera. Okay, Alia, are you ready?
Yes. All right. On my count of 3, everyone smiles. 1, 2, okay. Again. 1, 2, 3. Smile. All right. Done.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So again, thank you, Mr. Luis, for the insightful sharing. Now, I hope everyone would use your advice to choose a better future for themselves. So hope to see you all again in the future. Stay safe. On that note, I would like to remind the participant to leave the breakout rooms and return to the main room.
Can I just say that, I'm also online on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You just need to search Louis Liaw, LOUIS LAW. You can reach me there. If you have any questions, you can contact me there. Otherwise, you can always email me at louis@rdslawpartners.com. Okay, that's it. And thank you again, MC, and thank you again, ALSA, for having me.
Okay, thank you. So
Okay, I think Arina just got disconnected. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Louis, and everyone can leave this room and return to the main room. Thank you.
So I'll just leave here.
Yes.
yes.
All right. Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.